Welcome back to Roommate Confessions. Today we have special guest and friend of ours, Lexy.
Hello.
Welcome, Lexy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We're super excited. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Let the listeners know a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, my name is Lexy. I just graduated from Boise State with a public health major.
Congrats.
And a business minor, so that was fun.
A public health major throughout the midst of a pandemic.
Yes, it was horrible.
Wow.
Ask me what I do not want to do with my life, and it is that. So.
And it is health.
That's wild.
Yeah, and it is public health. So.
Oh, public health. That's right.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, my
like,
God.
Imagine some of the courses she went through.
Yeah. No, it was pretty brutal, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean.
So how long have you lived in Boise?
I have lived here basically my whole life. I moved around a ton as a kid, and then I moved around everywhere. And then went to Portland State for a little bit, transferred to Boise State, and then graduated from there.
So Portland to Boise, very lateral, I feel like similar transfer. Why did you make that move?
I knew I wanted to go out of state for school because I went to high school here. And then I got there, decided that I hated it.
Okay.
Not really the school for me. It was super unsafe, whatnot, or I felt unsafe, I should say.
Portland's changed a lot.
It's changed a lot.
Yeah.
I would have homeless people knocking at my dorm window every night. It was, just craziness.
On your dorm window?
Yeah.
Oh, so the homeless people were like partially your roommates.
Exactly.
Or at least trying to be.
Right. Exactly. It was so much fun. I loved every second of it.
I'm sure there's going to be some good stories ahead.
Yeah, for real. We have a friend who lives in San Francisco, and God, I can't remember who was just telling me. Oh, Lindsay. That we had some friends visit, and my girlfriend Lindsay was saying when she lived in San Francisco, there was this, before they got a gate on their apartment complex, like it was like a 4-plex, 5-plex, just like a little mini high rise. And you would walk in through like an opening in the building, and then all the doors would be on your left and your right. And she would say that they would wake up every morning to like 3 to 5 homeless people.
Oh my gosh.
Like in their atrium area.
Wow.
Like living, bathing.
So you get through the gate somehow or go?
There was no gate at the point.
Oh,
at that time, it was just like an opening in the building. Like you just walk through, and then there's like a little atrium. Yeah. I was like, yeah, no thanks.
Some sort of shelter or avoid the wind.
Yeah, exactly. Which is just sad, but also when you're paying, especially in San Francisco or Portland, even for that matter, your dorm was probably outrageously expensive.
Oh, so expensive. And it was the same way. The dorm was across from the Met, which is like, or the Max, I guess they call it there. And so they would all just hang out and gather there.
Yeah.
And so... Wow. There was a stabbing at the corner store that was next door to the dorm.
Oh, my God.
Like 2 months before I got there. So.
Oh, they're like, welcome.
Welcome to Portland State.
Yeah, we were there in the end of May.
Yeah.
And we noticed, she has family out in that area, some suburbs just outside of Portland. And
I love that area.
It has
changed
dramatically.
a lot,
which is so sad because it's such a beautiful city.
Oh, my God, it is.
There's so many fun things to do. The food culture is amazing.
Great,
Food was phenomenal.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, anyways, we could go on and on. But for anybody who's listening from Portland, we love you. We love your city. And
we're sorry.
But we're sorry. We wish it hadn't changed the way it has.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's jump into, I always say, don't give us all the whole enchilada in the beginning. Warm us up. So tell us a little bit about some of your roommate experiences, but don't give us all the goods.
Yeah. So when I was in Portland, actually, I had a crazy roommate.
Oh, God.
That started from the minute, actually not even before I met her. So usually you get your roommate assignment, they match you up, you take the whole test, whatnot, and you would hope that you would get someone that's somewhat similar to you.
Yeah.
In this case, it was not someone who was similar to me at all. Her name was Gwendolyn, which is just a beautiful name. But you'll have to imagine with a name like Gwendolyn, what kind of personality comes along with that.
Yeah.
She texted me 24/7 novels until the days that I got there for like 2 weeks. Just novels.
As text messages.
Text messages. Just, what are you doing today? How is your day going? What do you like best as your shoes? Like, what shoes do you prefer? Like, random things.
So you were kind of like, okay, maybe she's just trying to make conversation.
Totally.
But your gut told you it didn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Completely. Yeah.
Okay.
Get there. And from the start, I was like, this just is not going to be it. We are not meant to be.
You and Gwenny?
Yes, me and Gwenny. That's what I called her, Gwenny. But she went by Gigi. And so I was like, we're just not going to be, but I have no friends, and she could be a great person. I'm not going to judge her, whatnot.
Totally.
Yeah. Going in with it with an open mind. And so I get there at orientation. I had made a friend. And so the first night I was there, that friend was like, do you want to go out, walk around the city, whatnot? And I was like, okay, yeah, for sure. So I go out, and I hang out with her, and we're gone for a majority of the night.
The friend or the roommate?
The friend,
the friend
that I had met. Important later, because she'll come back into play later. But whatever, I knew we weren't going to be the best of friends, but I was like, we're going to make it work, whatnot. It'll be fine. She's nice. We can be civil.
Yeah.
So as time progresses, she gets a little bit more and more, just kind of, you can tell there's animosity between us.
Yeah.
And I had no idea, because I would never be mean to anyone, would never be malicious or have any ill will towards anyone. Even if I know we're not going to be friends, I'm still going to treat you with respect and whatnot. And we have to live together and things be amicable.
Yeah. Were you a little bit standoffish?
Maybe a little bit reserved. I have anxiety, and so she probably took that as me being standoffish.
Sure.
I knew that she also dealt with some mental health stuff as well, and so we probably weren't just the best things to begin with.
Yeah, it was like vinegar and water.
Exactly.
Or what is it? No, vinegar and oil. Not vinegar and water. That mixes.
Vinegar.
Oil and
vinegar.
Water.
Oil and vinegar?
Oil and water.
Oil and water.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
They don't mix,
Okay.
yeah.
One of those.
One of them. You didn't mix.
Yeah, we did not mix at all. And so things just were not as getting very amicable. We were kind of standoffish, whatnot. And she would just have kind of weird behaviors. So, like, we would find, like, bugs in our place that we were in, and she would get in her bed and have them, instead of, like, catching them, she would have them crawl on her body. Like, they'd crawl.
While laying in bed?
While laying in bed. She would bring them, she'd catch them, and then she'd bring them to her bed that was across from mine because we're in a dorm. And so we're, like, 5 feet away from each other, probably how we are now.
She would play with the bugs in her bed.
And she would just
in her bed.
And play with them in her bed. And so I was like, okay, like,
kind
of weird. And, like, I'm kind of...
Picture me doing that. I see a bug and I'm like, Steven, get the bug.
Yeah.
I would never.
I thought I heard some wild story. This is getting.
This is gross.
Yeah.
This is gross. Will you take a few, Bridget, on my phone too?
I just tagged you in our Instagram.
Oh, you did? Yeah, just a few, and like the listen now, and just tag the podcast because I've been getting some good stuff. Like my friends will listen to it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, just like on my personal one, and then tag. Sorry, roommate confessions, and we can reshare it on there too. Okay, awesome. So you freaking so she's playing with bugs.
Yeah, plays with bugs in her
Big
bed.
bugs?
What was that?
Big bugs?
Yeah, well, I'm
like
curious what kind of
spiders. Like we would find like
No.
spiders, and she would play with the spider. Then I'm a drama or not a drama queen. I'm a princess.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, nope. The minute I see a bug, I'm like, please, like, kill it, kill it,
Yeah.
kill it. She's like, no, they're our friends and whatnot.
Like, okay, save the bug, sure,
Yeah.
but like not in the bed.
Not in the bed. Like, you can just let it outside. And yeah, she'd play with them, and then yeah, that's what she'd do. She'd eventually let them outside.
Lenny, ew.
Yeah. Super, and she'd like chase
Really
it because it
interesting.
would want to be around her. So she would sit on her bed and do that. And then she would also, there were just so many random things that she just had such weird behaviors.
Yeah.
I mean, I think any roommate would do this, but she would invite her new boyfriend over at like midnight, and I'd be studying. And she'd be like, can we have the room for a little bit, please? And I'd be
Where
like,
would you go in that case? It's a dorm.
where would I go? So I would literally have to go and sit in the little communal area that we had for like 2 hours. And most nights not most nights, there were some nights where I would end up having to sleep out there in the communal area because my friends would be asleep in the apartments across the street.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there were so many nights I just didn't even come home because she was like, my boyfriend's coming over. Can we have the room? So I'd be like, okay, cool. So I'm kicked out of my own
That's
place.
unfortunate, yeah. And very inconvenient.
So inconvenient. Yeah, they were just a little odd. And then she would say things to me like, I need to go home because her parents lived like 45 minutes away. So she's like, I need to go home. I have counseling, and I need to have a talk about you. Like she would tell me.
That's not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
All.
How she would talk about me in her counseling and how like, but she would never tell me what I would do because I'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Is there anything I can do? Like, do you want to talk? She'd be like, no, I just need to talk to my counselor about you. And I'd be like, okay, like let me know if you ever want to talk.
Okay, this is bizarre.
A couple things
She
are
was
running through my
bizarre.
mind so far is like, if she had these false expectations of like being best friends with the future roomie, one thing, maybe a little bit let down. I'm not saying it's your fault.
Totally.
Just in general, like
Yeah.
the novels, maybe if the friendship didn't blossom the way she like anticipated, expectations and reality, it's like, okay. And then the other aspect is maybe she's a murderer and she's talked to her counselor so she doesn't murder you.
Oh,
Exactly.
Like, there's so many different ways
took
I'm-
a hard left, but
Right.
you
I'm
could
trying to
be-
think of how this could have, I mean, think about it. I mean, I'm not judging everybody who
He's
goes to a
like,
counselor.
think about it.
I'm saying a couple different reasons so far of what she could be talking
Yeah.
about. But when you are confronting her, well, addressing it,
it. Okay,
Yeah.
I want to have a conversation
Hey.
and have open
Right,
communication.
which-
if there's something I can do that's making you uncomfortable,
that's a perfect way
I
as a
wanna
roommate
know.
to address it.
Like,
Yeah.
let me
Yeah.
address. Okay, that's where you went with murder. I'm like, okay, not everybody goes. I go to counseling too on occasion, and I'm not.
I'm not
planning on
saying that
murder.
everybody who goes to counseling goes
I know,
is
but
talking
I
about
get
murders.
what you're saying. Like, you are trying to fix it, and she's like, no, I need to go speak with my like. Okay, yeah, that's bizarre.
Mhm.
Okay,
Because it's kind of secretive
so-
and mysterious where you don't know exactly what she would disclose.
Yeah, that's true.
Ah,
So how did it end with her?
So
Good old Gwenny.
basically what happened was the semester was ending, and I had decided at that point that I was going to leave Portland State for numerous reasons. Homelessness, I wasn't comfortable in where I was living.
I'm sure weather was
whatnot.
part of it too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so there was just a ton of reasons, and so I decided that I was leaving. In exactly 2 weeks, I had come home on a Saturday night after a night out with my friends, and I was making myself a sandwich before bed, whatnot. And she comes home, and I was like, "What is going on? Like, you are not in a normal, like, a right state of mind." And she was like, "We need to have a conversation." And I was like,
This
"Okay."
is 2 weeks before you move out.
2 weeks before I move out.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, yeah. And keep in mind, too, she was trying to get someone to take over my space in their room. So she was already trying to kick me out of the room before I could go home. And I was like, well, I have nowhere to go. And so it was already kind of weird. And so I come home, I'm making my sandwich, and she was like, we need to talk. And I was like, okay, like, probably not at 2 a.m. in the morning when I just got home from being out with my friends, but sure, like, we can talk. And so I'm in the fridge, that's a little mini fridge on the ground, getting my sandwich stuff, and she kicks the fridge door onto my head and was like, she was like, I said we need to talk. And I was like, oh.
she came out to fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she kicks it, whatnot, and then basically went on to say how I was a horrible person from the day that I came in and went out with my friend the girl I had met at orientation, that she felt that I had basically never wanted to be friends with her, whatnot, which is my bad, of course. I would never want to make someone feel like that. But just went on to say how I was a horrible person, how I make her want to do all these horrible things and whatnot, and like just would go on and on and on, like screaming at me about how I was just this horrible person. And I mean, I feel like I'm pretty self-aware, and I would never, like I said, I would never want to make someone feel a certain type of way that's not positive. And so I just remember that night, like, bawling my eyes out uncontrollably. And then she ended it with, I don't feel safe when you're around. Which, keep in mind, I'm 4'11", like, really not.
You're like, no history of fights.
Like, I don't even listen to true crime. Like, freaks me out too much. And so, yeah.
Not a threat at all.
Not a threat at all. And then, yeah.
Yeah, you're like the least threatening person
How did you react
ever.
to that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I just was bawling the entire time. And then keep in mind, she had
Meanwhile, you're
kicked the
crying.
door in my, like, onto my head. So my head's
Oh,
pounding.
throbbing.
really?
Because
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
okay, are you trying to, like, fight me? You're aggressively screaming at me.
Or just
Blah, blah, blah.
tear you down emotionally. Whatever. Yeah.
It was horrible.
None of the above is
Wow.
preferable.
Yeah. So then I ended up staying at my best friend's house or apartment across the street for 2 weeks. I slept on her couch, her and her boyfriend's couch. And then the following day, I got a text from her that said, I would not please tell me when you come back, because if you come back, I want my security guard to be here. Because apparently her dad worked in LA and he did like music scoring for movies.
Wait, she did not.
And so she goes, I need my dad's security guard to be here if you are going to be in the room, because I feel unsafe with you around.
So, Bible, you never did anything to make this girl feel
I swear
like
to
she
God.
made this shit up in her head. Like, you never, like, got in a physical altercation with her.
Nope.
Have you ever been in a physical altercation at all?
No, never.
You've never been in a fight?
I don't even raise my voice at people. Like that's a lie. It was one time Bridget and I were on a bike bar for my birthday, and I was
That's a lie. There was one time.
and that was 3 months ago, and that was the first time I've ever raised my
I
voice
love that
to anyone.
she can remember the one time she
Literally.
raised her voice. Like you or
Yes,
I.
because
we
it was
would
on
be
my
like,
birthday.
Here's a scroll.
That
And just roll
Or
out
not my birthday, it
to
was
the next
graduation.
Now the
Yeah.
block.
No, it was at the bike bar driver. Because he was a horrible bike bar driver.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the only
My-
time. And I didn't even really raise my voice at him. I just told him that he was horrible.
The fact that you have one time
I
you
have-
can
yeah.
recall is absolutely
Yeah.
hysterical. And
my
also
list
could
on the
be-
scroll would go from here to Portland.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
Steven playing in a sports game, his list
Yeah,
would go
or
from
the
here to
dogs.
Portland.
I think the dogs get yelled at probably more than anybody.
Yeah, no,
my
I
God.
don't raise my voice. My boyfriend and I have a rule: we don't raise our voices at each other. Like, I never
that's a
raise
good
my
rule.
voice.
It's a really
at
good
people.
rule.
Like, it's just I don't think it's an effective way to communicate. I don't touch people. Like, I don't fight them. Whatnot. I've never been that way. I actually don't even like confrontation, and so
That is so she totally was
completely
so,
made all of this up in her head.
So yeah, like
Yeah.
so emotionally and mentally like not stable.
Unstable, yeah.
That just
That's kinda
she
where I was going at.
created this.
That's
Well,
exactly
and
what I was thinking,
even
yeah.
I think it had been like right after I had moved out, I tried to have a conversation with her, and I was like, I'm again so sorry, like, because it really affected me what she had said. I was like, I never want anyone to say things about me like that, because that's never how I want to be perceived as a person.
Right.
And I was like, what your words really, really hurt me. Like, no one has ever said anything measurable to what you said to me. And I was like, I'm sorry if that one night that's got you off on a bad foot, that I didn't want to be friends with you because I went out with someone else. But like, that's not the case. And she had admitted that she maybe had turned that into that had skewed her vision of basically me.
So
as a
you know what's
person.
interesting though? Okay, so when I was in high school, I was best friends with this girl. She didn't go to the same high school as me. And we were like best friends. We worked together at this local pizza shop. Like we were inseparable. We were both nuts. Like we just loved to party,
Yeah,
loved
they
to
were
hang out.
off the radar.
And she started like I was always known for having multiple groups, different groups, whether it was like through soccer or different schools or whatever. I had like my Greek friends. I
Cliques.
just had like all these different groups of friends. So I would hang out with a lot of different people. Well, she started getting kind of like kind of what you're saying, like taking it really personally. I would hang out with somebody else and it would be like, it was weird. And I started to, I had to, it got to a point, it was so bad that I had to get to a point where I had to like start to backtrack, like backpedal a little bit. And we were like thick as thieves. And I started telling people that I was like, I think she likes me. And people were like, you're so egotistical. Like, you're such an egomaniac. Like, of course you think she has a crush on you. And I was like, no, like, I really, at the time, she slept with everyone. Bless her heart. Like, she was running from being lesbian, I
Totally.
think, because she had sex with at least 200 people by like junior year of high school. Like I'm not even kidding. Like, it was intense.
Yeah.
It was like not, like shit you get paid for. Like, you don't even do that for free. Like, those
Right.
numbers are huge. And I looking back, so she came out like, I think like 3 years after we graduated high school, and I was like, see, fuck all of you guys. I told you she
Right.
fucking liked me because, and then I wonder if
Totally something else
maybe
going on.
she too, like your roommate, like maybe liked you.
Well, there's also that, like, you're in Portland. She also was,
Did she give off those vibes a little
Oh,
bit?
yes, she-
Okay, so I think she may have liked you.
when she said she was bi-curious, I believed. There were
Okay.
just so many things where she's like, I'm bi-curious, and then she was like, I have mental health issues, and then she was like, there were just so many, like, random little things about her that made, not that saying that any of that is quirky, but then she just would say other things about her. I was like, you really don't know yourself as a person, and you can tell,
Yeah.
like, you're searching for yourself.
Yep.
And, like,
So she took it super personally.
super
she was into
personally.
you.
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
I
man,
mean, you
shit.
never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it.
Damn, I don't doubt it either.
Yeah.
What are we at on time, too, by the way? 19 and a half. Okay, perfect.
Cool.
Yeah. Do you have any other, like, crazy ones that you want to share? Did you write them down?
I know I have, because I've had so many crazy roommates.
Love
I
it.
have,
This is
Wait,
great.
oh my God. Give them, yeah, like, rapid
is great.
fire.
Okay,
Organized chaos.
Share,
I
like,
literally
the,
wrote down points because I was like, what do I talk about? 'Cause
share the other, I wish people would show up this fucking
Organized.
organized. We have time for you to share the craziest two that you want to. And they're not going to be like this long. They'll be like 3-4 minutes each, 3
Okay.
minutes.
The other ones aren't really that crazy. Gwenny was by far like the craziest
Yeah.
roommate I've ever had.
Spiders in your bed
Yeah, the
is a
whole
whole
thing
nother
was
level I've
just-
never heard of.
Well, and there's just other like random things. Like I came home one time and there was a giant stain. I'm not going to say what kind of stain, but there was a stain on her comforter. And I had told one of my friends who was in my sorority, and I was like, "Hey, get this! Like I came home, there's a stain on the comforter." Hint, hint, and. Whatever. Apparently, a girl that she knows overheard me talking about it.
Oh shit.
And so then I went back to Gwenny, and she was like, "It was milk. I swear it was milk."
Of course
and I was like,
it was
"Honey, I know what milk looks like. That is not milk."
I mean, it was lotion.
It was totally.
It was mayonnaise. Okay, I promise you it was
eating
mayonnaise.
my bed. I was eating a sandwich in my bed with my
Yeah,
spiders.
with my spiders. Yeah. No, she was just like, yeah. So
Yeah, she's
bizarre.
an interesting soul.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She wants to be a Supreme Court judge. So everyone watch out.
Oh,
I mean, but
interesting.
hey, they're all fucked up.
I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised if-
honestly, she probably really fit in.
I mean, honestly.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Supreme Court judges sleep with spiders or get in their bed with spiders. You
Or
never know.
sleep with people that aren't their significant others, or I don't care.
Yeah.
We don't have to go down that road. But, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to think if there's anything else. My other roommates aren't really that, like, they were just bizarre humans. Like, they were just rude, like, mean humans.
Yeah.
But, like, nothing crazy.
Like, just do passive aggressive stuff.
Like, one of their dogs, like, she would let, like, her dog pee on her.
What?
Yeah. Like,
The same girl
different girl.
would
So
let
you
her
had a
dog pee
different
on her.
roommate. This was
Like,
after
her dog
your
would,
first.
like, pee on her, and she'd be like, oh, my God, it's so funny. And then she'd just, like, take her off her sweatshirt and be like, okay, it's fine.
Like, not like, no, don't do that. Don't
Yeah.
pee on me.
Yeah.
She just was like, champagne shower.
Oh, my shower, yeah. Yeah, no, the dog would just pee, like, on her. And she'd be like, oh, my God, it's so funny, whatever. And he'd be like, dude, your dog's disgusting. Because her dog would defecate everywhere
Oh,
in
God.
our
my
apartment. And I'm a
God.
clean freak, like, to the max OCD. And so I would clean all the time. And yeah, her dog would just everywhere all the time.
That'd be a hard no. I'll be out in 2 weeks.
Okay,
at the
I
max.
love that you just were like, I don't know, I didn't really have any other like really intense ones, but like I did have a roommate that just like let her dog piss all over her and all through the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
And you
No,
lived with her for how long? A year?
That was 6 months.
Yeah, I couldn't do it that long. No way.
Yeah.
Actually, our first roommate, we'll call her Lexy. This dog had an older dog named Sassy that pissed everywhere, all over our clothes and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And she would bring the dog to our house and it would piss everywhere.
Mm-hmm. You know, this dog would like poop in our room, and she'd be like,
Uh-huh.
and she'd just pick it up, and there'd be like clothes, and then she'd just like put the clothes on.
100%. Yes, that was totally Lexi. Yes, absolutely. Some people are just intense like that.
Yeah,
And I love my dog.
Did
Like,
you say
listen,
we, as in you and I, both live with this person?
You hadn't lived with us yet. You know, you weren't living there yet.
I was gonna say I have no idea
No,
who
no,
you're
no,
talking
you weren't
about.
living there yet. And like we were so young, and it's just, oh my God, same thing. That was exactly how she was.
Ugh.
Ew.
disgusting.
Ew, that
literally disgusting.
Ew, disgusting.
Yeah.
Ew, disgusting. Yeah, absolutely.
No,
That's
she
pretty
was
bad.
also just not the best. Like she would stay up until like 6 a.m. playing video games, and I could hear her screaming through the wall, just like profanity. And I was like, "Honey, it's 6 a.m." Like,
Yeah.
why
Like
are
she's
you up?
tormented.
Oh my God. Well, no, she's playing video games.
Oh, video
She
games.
was
Sorry, I
yelling
missed
at
that. I missed that. I thought just random
Wait,
screaming.
why was
You're
she
like, wait a
tormented?
second.
I missed that. No.
Yeah, no, she was also just kind of bizarre. And
So headphones
Yeah.
are on. She's all into the
And so
game.
she's like,
Yeah.
not paying
No
attention.
consideration for.
Mhm.
Oh God,
Okay,
the
but
silence
that's
around
kind
her.
of also funny. We've had kind of a lot of similar stories because I'm relating to a lot of what you're saying. What
Yeah.
about, we'll call her Kate, and she was a raver,
Mhm.
and I worked with her at the seafood restaurant.
Yeah, that was an interesting situation. Essentially, similar in terms of 6 a.m. She was a night owl, and our schedules were virtually complete opposites.
Because we worked like normal humans.
By the time we were going to bed, she was going out and having a good time and doing the nightlife thing.
Or her friends would come over at that time.
And when we were waking up in the morning, she was literally coming in the front door and going to bed.
Or just like
we
they
had
would
complete
just be
opposite
leaving.
schedules.
And so she was like, so she would sit up for
That's right.
hours and she would take Molly or ecstasy. At the
Oh,
time, it was
God.
probably more ecstasy. It wasn't
Yeah.
even Molly. And she would sit there and she would make raver bracelets for 8
That's
to
right.
12 hours at a time. She
Shut
wouldn't
up.
sleep.
Even
for
on the nights where
days.
she's not going out, that's what she'd be making.
Yeah, she wouldn't
Yeah.
even. And
Like
then
all
she
the
would,
attire, all the the get up
just
for it.
like do Molly just for fun.
Oh, yeah,
just
she
like
would be
hang out.
singing
Do you
by
remember?
herself.
Do you remember seeing there was like a hat? There was like think of it like, have you seen the movie Where the Wild Things Are?
Yes.
Where it's like a fuzzy kind of a monster bear.
Yes.
She had a hat,
Like
and
a top hat.
and
Yeah.
kind of, yeah, but the hat
But
was
underneath that top,
fuzzy.
like the hair.
Yes.
The hat was fuzzy
Yeah.
and it went down like a raver, and it went down all the way to like the back of her knees. So it was kind of interesting. It was all fluorescent and
She was
the beads and the yeah.
Yeah, she was like this bright blonde, big buggy eyes, like without
Big
the
bubbly
drugs.
eyes.
Big,
Not buggy,
yeah.
but
No,
bubbly.
They were buggy, like
Yeah.
they were buggy
Bug eyes,
in my opinion. And she probably weighed 85 pounds,
Yeah.
maybe. And she was
She was
still
a tiny
really
little thing.
young. I mean, we were young too, but I would say like we were getting our shit together. So like it was not a good fit. But she would come home, roll in at 8 o'clock in the morning as we're walking out the door with raver, but she would wear raver bracelets up to her shoulders, and like the
Lord.
hats even sang, and the fishnets and everything.
The hat has always threw me a
She would
curveball.
always be like, "Hey, and like the meth mouth," and would come in, and we would be like, "Good morning," and she's like, "I'm going to bed," and we would just be like, "Oh,
Okay, bye. Good night.
Like it
Oh,
got
God.
crazy.
It was wild.
And
yeah.
I don't even remember how it ended, but that ended so
She
bad.
ended up moving out a little earlier, and then my buddy from work actually moved in.
Yeah, but do you remember? Like, I feel like there was like a lot of like times, you know, when you like block shit out that like you were just like that was so stressful. There was something that happened. She got her dad involved and threatened to sue us.
She wanted to move out without
Police
getting her
for
deposit
keys.
back or something
Oh,
like that.
she like didn't want to pay. And like the
Yeah,
month,
it was
and
all
like
money
didn't
related,
want to
yeah.
get in, and so then like her dad's writing us letters that he's
But
going to sue us.
what she's telling the dad is not the same as what was really happening.
Well,
so
of
once we had a
course.
talk with him, then he's like, "All right, I'll leave you alone."
Exactly.
Like, all right, I get it. I can leave you
Yeah.
alone.
But it got like really intense for a minute there. Yeah, because her dad was like threatening litigation. It was just crazy. Yeah, we've had so
Yeah,
many.
she was
crazy-
probably what, 19?
19.
Yeah, she was 19.
She was probably 19.
Well, we were
we were
only-
23 and she were 21, maybe.
I was like 23 and you were 25.
You think so?
Yeah, over off of Laurel. Yeah, for sure. So yeah,
Sounds
we can
about right.
relate. Oh my God. Okay, so for all of you who are, hello, sponsor. Okay. So funny enough, our sponsor, all of these situations could have been avoided. Our sponsor is Chillo. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about Chillo?
Chillo is a platform. It's an app for both Android and iOS. And you can go on there and rate, review, and endorse your roommate. So a situation like you experienced could have been avoided because there's a good chance if you were to hear what other people had,
To say about Gwenny.
yeah, more than likely you wouldn't be
Funny.
living with her. And not only that, you can also find locations to live at too. So finding a good place to live and finding somebody to live with, check out Chillo, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We love our sponsors at Chillo, and you can always follow them at Chillo, CHILLOW app, APP, on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. They do a ton of great and funny roommate stuff. So go check out our sponsors today. Awesome. Okay. So then we'll kind of transition into the second half. The second half is usually about 15 minutes. It's a little less long than the first, or a little shorter than the first one. So for most of our followers out there and listeners that know, you can actually call in to share your roommate horror story.
Yeah.
So we get call-ins that we share all the time, and if you call in and share your roommate horror story, you'll have the chance to be featured on our next recording.
Yeah.
Give us a shout on that number at 650-271-9641, and you can find more information about how you can be either featured on a call-in or featured like Lexy on the actual podcast. Go follow us at Roommate Confessions Podcast on Instagram.
No story is too short, too long, too crazy, too dull.
Absolutely. So let's listen to our last caller. We got this caller in yesterday, and of all the callers that we got in yesterday, we definitely want to go ahead and share this one. So let's go ahead. Stay tuned.
Okay, so back in the day, my roommate Shauna and I were still roommates. She's one of my favorite people on earth. We lived with these two guys, and it was like really entertaining most of the time. Like we had a really good time with them. But one time, we actually had to kick out one of our male roommates because he was doing a lot of drugs, and at first it was like, oh, haha, like Landon coming home, like on a different drug. But then it got to the point where he was like doing harder and harder drugs, like acid, he did like heroin or whatever. But one night I went out to like hang out with my friends. It was like karaoke night, so every like Thursday we would like invite a bunch of people over and we'd sing karaoke. So I was out of the apartment when this happened. But my roommate Shauna, she calls me at like 11 o'clock at night, and she's like, Sammy, like, do not come home, like, Landon threatened to pull a gun, like, please don't come home. She was literally fucking high as shit, like, totally, like, out of it. And I was totally drunk, so I was like, okay, like, I won't come home, and I slept on this random girl's couch. The next day, she picks me up. She's, like, so scared. Apparently, Landon threw this, like, huge party, and so he was, like, on a ton of drugs, so he was, like, threatening to, like, kill people or whatever. And so for 2 weeks, we still had to live with him. We'd lock our doors every night, but we had to go find, like, evidence to kick him out, because they were like, okay, like, we don't have any evidence of him, like, saying that. So we would snoop around his room when he was gone, and the only reason he got kicked out was because there was messages of him telling me, like, he was doing heroin. But it was a pretty wild, scary night, and I'm so glad that we made it out with our lives. So, yeah.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I don't know where to start.
Would you ever go back to the apartment? Not just that one night, but would you ever go back?
If somebody was threatening to kill me?
No, threatened to pull a gun, but yeah, essentially, yeah.
No.
And what kind of party do you host?
Right.
Bring people over and then threaten to pull out a gun?
Well, it sounds like this was like a reoccurring theme with this roommate, right? Like where he did it to the roommates, he threatened to hurt them, and then he did it at a party, threatened to hurt a bunch of people at the party. But my almost concern is how casual that caller was with, like, you know, like he would do like heroin or like whatever. Not casual.
Not casual at all.
Not casual at all. And also concerning that the landlord at the time, or I think these were dorms, it sounded like, where they had to prove that,
Right.
oh my gosh, like
You actually are unsafe.
are unstable. Yeah, wow, that is so wild. That is wild. I would take your situation as uncomfortable as it was.
Totally.
Because I don't necessarily think, like, unless I'm wrong, you ever, like, feared for your life.
No.
Yeah.
No. She hit me once, or like slammed a
That's
fridge
right,
in my
Yeah.
door.
Fridge
but,
door, yeah.
Or yeah, fridge door.
But, like, not
a gun.
a gun.
Not a
Lethal.
gun, no. And you could always get like some spray to put around the house for like spiders to die off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like, there's some solutions to the
Totally.
Gwenny problem.
Yeah.
But you never know if someone's going to come off the hinges and pull out a gun
Just-
and just start firing off at people.
Well, and
Or
You
if he's
never
telling
know.
people that he's going to do it.
Right. And on
That almost
drugs,
seems also
people
like
do
a-
crazy things.
Yeah, it almost seems like a cry for attention too. You almost got to be like, hey, dude, maybe you should
Good.
check yourself out here. You know,
I don't think in all of our roommate scenarios, I can't think of one person.
Nope.
Can you think of one person you didn't feel safe living with? I can. I can think of one person.
give me a second. Hold on.
We've had a lot of roommates.
We've had
What
a
about
lot
you?
of
You've had a lot of roommates too.
Another one that I've ever felt unsafe with, though.
Okay. Never one that you feared for your life.
No, I don't think so.
What about you?
I wouldn't say he's a roommate, but there was one guy who was traveling through town. He was looking for a job, didn't have a place to stay, and we were in the process of moving houses. One house we were moving into was completely empty, and you were like, "No, I don't want him staying at our place." And I was like, "Well, he seems like a pretty legit guy. Like, you just crest on
Oh,
the couch."
the one that I almost left you about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I almost left
Seems
him.
like a pretty legit guy. Like, he's cool. Like,
I was like,
no
are
problem.
you insane?
I'm gonna help him get a job.
You didn't know him.
And
Savior complex.
anyway, I was like, I'll give you a
100%.
place to stay. Let's just go crash at the other place. Like, it's completely empty. You'll sleep on the carpet.
Yeah, because he was trying to. I'm like, I'm
That
the
might have
one-
been the only time I think I might have gotten killed.
He didn't even know him.
No
He
idea.
didn't-
I met him earlier that day in an interview.
And he offered for him to stay at our house. And I was like, I am
I was,
not
what,
fucking comfortable
20?
No.
at all. I was like, I'm a woman. You don't invite random
Yeah.
men to stay
No.
into our house.
I was about 23 at the time, and that
And,
was
like,
stupid.
So stupid. And so
Mm.
he's like, fine, then I'll just, hella mad. Dick. I'll just go stay with him
fine.
at the empty house. I'm like, great. Don't get murdered.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Let me know
What's,
how it finds.
what's his middle name? What's his birthday? Where does he live? What's his parents' name? Oh, you don't know? Because you met him today. You don't go sleep with a stranger, or I guess you can sleep with a stranger, but like, here, come on in,
Yeah.
hang out. The water's warm. I was
Except it's not because it's
pissed.
an empty house.
It was completely empty. There was
And
not
that,
a
well, and that
stitch of
just
anything
shows
of ours in that
character too
house.
that he's willing to stay
At-
on
someone's empty
house. So, yeah, that you've met today. Like that also shows his character,
character,
as well.
100%. Yeah, not that that's a character flaw for you. Like, you do want to help people,
Help
which is
people,
The
yeah.
great.
ability to
You
help him
didn't
was a
think-
noble. It was a noble act, but
you
it
didn't
wasn't.
think.
It wasn't fully thought out. No.
No. Well, you don't really think very much at 23. You don't think things through
No.
often. But yeah, okay, so that was for you.
That's the only time I've actually felt like there was a threat.
Okay.
But other than that, no.
Well, okay, I guess I didn't
Feared for your life?
feared for my life. I don't my Davis roommate. I wouldn't say I feared for my life. It was just kind of like Gwenny. There was a lot of things that were off, like really off,
Yes.
really off. And I was
And
like
blatantly apparent. You could
yeah,
definitely
she was very
tell.
like really mean,
blunt
and
about
like
it.
she didn't how she treated me.
Overly controlling.
Yeah,
Kind of
how
barked
she-
orders. Yeah.
Yeah, how she treated me versus how she treated her friends. I was like, she wants me dead.
Right.
Like it was like weird stuff. And so that, or when we lived for a very short period before she went to rehab with, we'll call her Lexa.
Yeah. She was more like kleptic.
She was
Kleptic. She was steal shit.
She was stealing, and like my
my
$300 went
goodness.
missing, and
Yeah.
it ended up, it was a disaster. But I never feared for my life with her. It just like, I almost feared for her life more, to be honest. But
Right.
it was shit like that. But yeah, that's interesting. I forgot about that you did that. We'll talk about that later. Just kidding. I let it go. I let it go.
Long gone.
Long gone. Oh my God. But yeah, that caller, if you're out there listening, stay safe out there.
So
Yeah.
sorry for you.
So sorry for you.
Yeah.
Stay safe, friend. That was an intense call.
That was, it was pretty intense.
Yeah. And for anybody else who's listening out there that wants to be featured, and you have your roommate horror story, again, like Steven said, there is no story too big or too small. Give us a
Too
call.
crazy. You can use swear words, whatever you want. Let's tell the
Just
story.
tell the story.
But tell it well.
And the number to call is 650-271-9641. Give us a shout.
And again, guys, all you got to do is leave a voicemail, just like you just heard right there. So it's not like you got to talk to anybody on the other end of the line. Just call and leave the message.
Love it.
great.
Awesome. So thank you again to Lexi
Yeah,
for
thanks,
joining
Lexi.
us.
Thank you,
Holy
guys.
shit. You had some crazy ass stories.
I still can't get over the spiders in the bed.
Blech.
A roommate with
Of
spiders
all
in the
the
bed.
things, that's
Like,
what
we've
you
heard
can't
some
get over.
wild
Stuck
stuff.
on the spiders in the bed.
People
It's
wait,
pretty
like,
gross.
One roommate was a little old lady, and she was like knocking on the bathroom door, waiting while the other girl was in the bathroom. Like, I'm in here. That's kind of creepy, but spiders in the bed.
Yeah,
and
I can't get over that
Ugh.
one either.
Yeah, no,
That's just
spiders in the bed.
disgusting. Well, if you guys want more of Lexi, you can follow her at Lexy, Lexy, and you'll have to pronounce your last name for me.
Mosqueda.
Mosqueda, Mosqueda on Instagram. And do you have a TikTok?
I have a TikTok, but I don't post on it.
Okay, so it's just
don't follow
it's
me
just
there.
a creep on others. I
Yep,
get it.
Exactly.
It's
Even
just a
though
creeper talk.
technically now you can't creep on people on TikTok anymore because it tells you.
what do you mean?
What, it does?
It shows you when people view your profile.
Oh, it does. You're right. Yeah.
Interesting,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, it does. Okay, good.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a good call. Well, if you guys want more of Lexi, give her a follow on Instagram. You'll find us there on our next episode. And of course, don't forget to follow our sponsors, Chillo or Download, if you're looking to find that next roommate or place to live. And of course, don't forget that you can endorse your former roommate on there as well.
Thanks,
Awesome.
guys.
Till next time.
Thank you.